Good day, everyone, and welcome to A Future for Nimrud, Where Are We Today? As the Executive Director of TARII, I am pleased to have you all here. This discussion will form a knowledge base for upcoming efforts to develop a holistic site plan for Nimrud, while we hope also bringing an increased awareness of and interest in the site. These events are being conducted collaboratively between the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, or SBH, and TARII. SBH oversees all of the national museums, heritage, and archaeological sites in Iraq while collaborating with international institutions on notable projects. It is comprised of 7 departments in Baghdad, as well as 15 provincial inspectorates. TARII was established in 1989 to promote scholarly research on and in Iraq with a focus on the humanities, social sciences, and the environment. We do this through our offices in Baghdad, Erbil, and Washington, D.C. In addition to myself, TARII is represented today by Mr. Mohammed Al-Mimar and Ms. Lanah Haddad. Mohammed, who leads TARII in Federal Iraq as our Iraq Director, is a preventive conservator with degrees from the University of Applied Sciences in Berlin and from Baghdad University. With more than 20 years of previous experience at SBH and the Iraq Museum, we have been fortunate to have his expertise during the Nimrud Rescue Team's 2023 and 2024 seasons. Our first speaker today, though, is TARII's Regional Director, Lanah Haddad, who supervises our office in Erbil and all programs within the Kurdistan Region of Iraq. Lanah is an archaeologist specializing in the art and archaeology of ancient Mesopotamia, having previously studied at the University of Frankfurt and participated in several international archaeological excavations and heritage preservation projects. Lanah has led TARII's participation in the Nimrud Documentation and Stabilization Project with the Nimrud Rescue Team and the Smithsonian. Please welcome Lanah.
Thank you very much, Amanda. And I would like to talk about the legacy of Nimrud and the global responsibility in this conference today. When someone asks me about the most important archaeological site in Iraq, it's a challenging question to answer, to be very honest. The region called the cradle of civilization for over a century. And I believe we all can agree that this is not exaggerated. If we are looking at the incredible high number of important sites and what they do mean for human history. But the legacy of Nimrud stands out. Today, I want to highlight the key elements that makes it so special. It's crucial that we recognize the significance of Nimrud now more than ever. This ancient city is not only a testament to the rich history and cultural heritage of Iraq, it's also a reminder of the global responsibility to protect these invaluable historical treasures. The destruction of Nimrud by ISIS was a tragic act and a cultural vandalism that shocked the world. While ISIS claimed to be destroying idols, their real goal was to generate publicity and spread their extremist ideology in the Western world. The Iraqi public, of course, is well aware of the historical significance of the sites like Nimrud, but no one here considers the remains at Nimrud as objects of worship, as Daesh claimed while they were destroying the site of Nimrud. Most of the heritage destruction done by ISIS focused on religious, historical sites dating back to the medieval period. This is also why the pictures that I'm showing here representing the largest part of the destruction during Daesh. We have Nabi Yunus and we have the Nuri Mosque in Mosul. On purpose, they recorded these acts on simple phones to avoid much of media attention, because they were deliberately erasing evidence of a pluralistic Islamic history with the existence of diverse communities. Again, the goal of destroying the Northwest Palace in Nimrud in such a dramatic manner was to target the West, to spread their fear through the Western media channel, which they succeeded very much. But let's go back to the legacy of Nimrud. Beneath the ruins of Nimrud, lies the remains of an imperial city, Kalkhu, that became the new capital of the expanding Neo-Assyrian Empire under King Ashurnasirpal II. This act can be also counted as a large restoration and further development project, because Ashurnasirpal himself writes about Nimrud: "I indeed cleared away the old ruin mound, I indeed dug down to the water table, I indeed sunk it to the depth of 120 curses, I rebuilt its wall, I completely built it from the foundation to its crenellation." He manifests his power and immortalized himself with the so-called Northwest Palace that is decorating with stone reliefs presenting the state propaganda. Ashurnasirpal's second reign was a pivotal moment in the history of the Assyrian Empire. Building up on the foundation laid by his predecessor, he expanded his empire territory through conquest and established one of the most powerful yet brutal empires of its time. His brutality is reflected in the magnificence of the Northwest Palace. It's no wonder that Ashurnasirpal's legacy and of those who came after him has endured for millennia. Locals from the neighboring area referred to the ruins as Nimrud, echoing the legacy of the king, the mighty hunter before the Lord, mentioning in the Old Testament and also in the Islamic history. This was recorded by Claude James Rich, a British consul in Iraq, or at that time Ottoman Empire, in the early 19th century, who was one of the first Westerners to visit the site of Nimrud and recording the ancient ruins. Even though the capital of the empire shifted twice, the city of Kalkhu continued to thrive. Its decline began only after the conquest of 612 BC by a coalition led by the Babylonians and the Medes. This marked the destruction of Kalkhu and turning the ruins of Nimrud. So the palace was untouched till about 2,500 years, until Austen Henry Layard, a British diplomat, excavated the citadel of the ruins intensively, and this was between 1845 and 1851. Shortly after, the French consul Paul-Émile Boutin excavated at Dur-Sharrukin for Sabat between the years 1842 and 1843. Back then, Mosul was part of the Ottoman Empire. Both France and Britain had offices there. They wanted to control the area and were competing with each other. This competition was not only expressed politically, but also started the search for ancient artifacts and exploiting ruins in the region. Layard's first publication on Nimrud was titled Nineveh and its Remain. At that time, he thought he discovered the biblical Nineveh. It was published in 2 volumes. This groundbreaking, very illustrative work helped to popularize the study of ancient Mesopotamian civilizations and can be counted as the beginning of ancient Near Eastern archaeology. So this is again one part of the legacy of Nimrud. So Austen Henry Layard excavated a large portion of the palace and sent many reliefs to the British Museum. However, the artifacts found at Nimrud from the excavations followed after him eventually spread far and wide. Other museums and private collectors acquired them through buying or donations. This stopped, of course, with the new antiquity law that was established after the monarchy of Iraq was founded. Here we have a list of early excavations that happened at Nimrud, and then the later excavations were then under the new law regulation of the Iraqi state. And especially after the 15th, we can see the establishment of the site museum that many people used to visit, especially during springtime in Iraq till 2003, where then the access was less and less because of the conflict time. And then, of course, it was not visitable anymore when it was occupied area by ISIS, and then, of course, when they destroyed it. The popularity of Assyrian art and the availability of artifacts on the market contributed to the spread of Nimrud's treasure to over 70 collections worldwide. There are around 320 complete or fragmented reliefs from the Northwest Palace documented in those mentioned collections. The British Museum holds the largest collection of Nimrud's artifacts, while the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Met, in New York has the second largest collection. Of course, in Iraq, we do have a large collection in the Baghdad Museum, but compared to what is available outside the country, there is a huge disbalance. And here comes why the responsibility about Nimrud's future lies in the global side, because so many museums around the world are benefiting from the artifacts of Nimrud for visitors to come to see it in their collections. For this reason, I feel very much it is really time that the global community comes together and supports the future of Nimrud, since this is a chance to give back to a site that has given a lot to collections and museums worldwide, in North America, in Europe, but in many other museums as well. And here it is also like where the support can be either with capacity building, but also like with the financial support. The team on ground has been working really hard for the past years for the recovery of the site, and has been getting support by the Smithsonian through the training and the financial support. But this is coming to an end, and we need to start further phases for the future, and especially for the restoration of those pieces who were blown up through the detonation. So I hope that this conversation that we had in this conference is opening some doors and opportunities for collaboration in the future, and that we can give hope to the local people that their heritage is saved and that it can be visited also on site and not only in the international museums and collections. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, dear Lanah.